of set the stage nicely, didn't she?
Yeah.
Great
I
job.
love these mountains. I didn't tell her there's 7 mountains, so what did she draw here?
She got 6.
Oh, there's
Or
6.
7? No, there's 7.
One, two,
Seven.
three,
She's
four,
got
five,
7.
five,
She's
six,
got 7
seven.
over there.
Oh
She's
man,
got a light.
isn't that hilarious? That's great.
Yeah, she's got 7 mountains.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
That's pretty awesome. And all those people.
And trees are people in the Bible, symbolically.
They kind of look like sheep.
Well, we are.
That's what I was thinking.
the symbol that we are trees, that's Feast of Tabernacle imagery.
Oh wow.
Psalm 1. See, I'm finding all this neat stuff. It's like I
That's
couldn't find it
awesome.
anywhere, and then I start looking at it. It's like, oh no, now it's everywhere.
Wow.
Psalm 1 is Feast of Tabernacles.
The kid ruined
The,
didn't know what the kid do.
the tree planted beside the rivers of water that brings forth its fruit in the season. Its leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever does shall prosper. Right? But the wicked are not so. Right? So it just divides the wicked from the righteous. And the righteous are righteous because they meditate on the law of God day and night. So the law of God has gone forth, and now because they're under the branch, they're a tree that's planted beside the rivers of water, and they bring forth their fruit in their season. But the wicked, they're not so. They haven't received the word of God. So they're like chaff which the wind drives away. The Spirit drives them away. So Psalm 1 is a Feast of Tabernacles song. And I haven't had it memorized for years, and I never even realized it until God started challenging me about the Feast of Tabernacles. I said, oh, okay. I learned something amazing.
Take it doesn't go to the tune "We Wish You a Merry Christmas."
I kind of still like Christmas. Try to let go.
So I'm trying to get people to start thinking about Christ coming out and what that means, right? That's where, and most, I'll say this with tongue in cheek, most of the prophecies of the Bible are dealing with our time, our day.
Yes. Yes.
What we are about to experience is what they longed for. They longed for the coming of the Messiah.
And thought it was imminent.
And they thought it was imminent.
Yeah.
And so the first coming of the Messiah takes place, and they're expecting all this fireworks. They're expecting this decree to go out, and all the kings of the earth to come and subjugate themselves to this king, and they were going to be, they're going to be kings and priests to God, and they're going to rule, and God's going to, they think all this the same way we think. We're going to go to heaven, and we're going to, sit around and whatever. So what they expected, but see, they didn't understand that there's a process, and they didn't see the different parts of the process. And so most of the prophecies, 90% of the prophecies that we're talking about, are that the Bible talks about, are for our day, and they have not yet been fulfilled. Now, after Jesus comes, the second coming happens, and we go to heaven, we will start another process. And you'll start reading the same old stories, only from a totally different perspective. And you realize, these prophecies are still yet to be fulfilled. Because the third coming of the Messiah and the coming of his kingdom is still future. And so all the prophecies that you thought you understood so well, how they were explained in the past, and then you saw them lived out in your time when Jesus came, and then you're going to go to heaven and realize, I'm not so smart as I thought I was. Look, they're still going to happen again. I'm still studying the same thing. This is amazing.
You know what I love that you said last night and touched on it again today is that we will have purpose. That our purpose will be very specific in heaven. It's not just hanging out and
Right.
being granted our every wish. Because that
That's
didn't
right.
work
That
for
would not
me.
bring us happiness.
No.
I'm
No.
floating on a cloud with my heart.
He made us to want to have purpose.
Right.
I like that.
That's right.
Yeah, I never wanted to go to heaven because all I ever heard about when I was little, or thought I heard was, we're going to be on a cloud.
That it was going to be boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, a cloud is a throne. It's not a cloud.
Yeah, well, I saw me on the cloud.
Yeah, well, so a cloud is a throne, which means it's a place of responsibility. So you will sit on a cloud.
That's it.
You will have a place of responsibility, and you'll have things under you that you are managing, taking care of, and they will be subject to you. They will be dependent upon you for their well-being, and you will be edifying that which is under you, because you'll be a faithful king and queen to God.
By playing.
Well, we say heart, but the point is that how God causes order is that He speaks.
Right.
So the idea of words or sounds going forth creating order makes perfect sense.
It does.
So the idea of a harp, which is organized music, that sounds that go forth are orderly but also create order from this cloud makes sense. See, it's ancient thinking that makes sense.
I'm ready then.
Person's out of place of responsibility, and what they decree, what you speak, is going to make sense and bring
Can't go
order. Right?
Yeah.
There's the ancient imagery behind the things that the Bible says that we say is so deep, and
It
yet
really is.
it's just like we go, I don't want to sit on a cloud and play a harp. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do.
You're missing the whole point. Lord, anoint our eyes that we can see.
But you know, the things that little children think of, that can be so confusing.
Yes, but that's where we're.
But where do they hear it?
Well, the cool things that I've worked with kids my whole life, they ask questions that you would never think of. It's like, wow, it challenges me to look at something from a totally different direction. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I think God purposely has little kids running around, why, when they're 2 or whatever, everything's why. Oh, that's great. They want to learn, and we should be hungry to learn. We should not be settling for pat answers. There's nothing wrong with asking the question. It's settling for answers that we think we know that aren't true or worse.
And society is just taking that totally out.
Yeah.
Society's taking that out. They're giving you a set regimen to learn. They're not teaching you to think at all.
They
Not
don't want us
reason.
to think.
And we should not be doing that to our children.
I
Yeah.
had a friend that was a professor, and he had a young son, and the young son was exceedingly smart. And I asked him, I was talking to his father about him, and he said, whenever he asked the question why, we go look it up. And so this was this little kid, and he was like, I don't know, somewhere between 7 and 9. And he knew more than any 4 grown-ups that I knew that you could put together. Because anytime he asked why, his father went and looked up the information and gave it to him. And the kid absorbed it. And he was like genius level.
Well, I think one of the things that's happening to our young people is when we teach them that education is information, then they can just Google it. They don't need to talk to you. And why do they need to go to school? Just Google it, right? Right? So if education is just information, well, I have all this information at my fingertips, I don't need you. But education isn't information. Education is training our faculties to process clearly, to think, and to make responsible choices. So the point is that a lot of kids are running around with all kinds of information, but they're totally helpless in terms of reasoning things through and being responsible and making wise decisions. They think that the information makes them smart, but they're not smart. They're idiots. And we live in a world full of people that are actual idiots because they think they have all this information, which is right, but they don't have control of their own machinery. So, by the way, that's what a fool is in the Bible, right? Someone who has no control over his own machinery.
The other piece that you are dealing, that you've brought up is the thinking, the Hebrew thinking that we don't have access to because we haven't been instructed. We don't have words or thoughts to translate that. And that's learning too. That's something that needs to happen so that we understand.
Right.
And so that takes teaching too.
Right. There's one of the things I thought of many times. I think some kids have asked me questions. They'll say, well, what language are we going to speak in heaven? Because there's so many different languages.
There'll only be one, there won't there?
Why? How many different kinds of fish are there? How many different kinds of birds are there? Why do you have to speak only one language?
Yeah, maybe we'll know how to speak all
Why won't we have a
languages.
brain enough to learn many different languages? And we'll go to other planets and learn other languages.
Well, I always thought because he confused the languages of the Tower of Babel that when we got to heaven that would be taken away.
Yeah, it will be. But is it the language that was confused or was this that was confused?
So you're saying it isn't necessarily that it's going to be one language, just that we're going to be able to speak all of them.
So you'll be in touch with reality. That's right. And you'll be able to discern whatever language. And you'll learn. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, people talk about how many different love languages are there?
5.
Oh, well, how come there's not just one? Well, what language are you going to speak in heaven? whatever. I mean, if I don't know the language, I'll learn it, right?
But it's not just
Well, that's
not
an interest-
necessarily about words. It's about what they
Understanding,
about understanding.
It's this.
Well, if you
right.
take it a little further, it isn't just in heaven either. It's like when we're in the new earth, we're going to be able to go to other worlds too. Now that's not going to be just one language either, right?
So what happens at Pentecost? Does God give everybody a language lesson, or does he fix their mind?
He fixes their mind, he gives them the Spirit.
Right?
Right.
So, see, Pentecost is the opposite of what happens at Tower of Babel, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, again, what does Paul say? Do not be childish in your thinking, right? We have to stop thinking just on one low level, but start thinking in terms of beyond. And then that scares us because, well, then now I don't have the right answer. Well, no, the right answer is not the right answer.
We don't have to have the answer, do we?
Well, yes, Jesus is the answer, and then I'm set from there, right? Whatever question you ask, Jesus is the right answer.
The language wasn't the point.
That's
Tower
right.
of Babel.
That's-
It was a tool that God used to.
Well,
solve the problem.
he gave them over to what they chose,
Yeah.
and because they were damaging their faculties, and God gave them over to the damaged faculties, and because they were damaged faculties, and they made their reality wrapped around themselves. All they could do was communicate or get along with people that thought the same dysfunctional way they thought. So it became my dysfunctional language is the same as yours. We're going to hang together. Those guys, they speak something totally different over there. And everybody clicked in their little groups, but it was actually the damaging of their mind he gave them over to. And so the restoration, the reversal of that at Pentecost is the restoration of their mind so they could understand and they could reason beyond and they could communicate with other people even if they had different dysfunctions than them.
Interesting.
And so again, God is neat. And he keeps saying the same thing over and over. I'm trying to fix your mind. Why do you keep making it something else? And if he fixes our mind so we can reason the principle, and he strengthens our will so we can choose properly, then there'll be harmony. There'll be love and peace and harmony and righteousness and goodness and edifying and building up and joy and peace and all these wonderful things. But if those things aren't fixed, sorry, you got a wave of hell coming at you, and there's no way you're going to stop it.